Hi there guys, and welcome to another Train Sim 2020 video. Today I have I've got a few exciting things to show you, but we'll get through those as we go. We're actually on the Cambridge to Peterborough route. This is an update primarily about the Cambridge to Peterborough route. You will see that I do have my combined traction brake controller. This is a joint venture between TS Controllers and ATS. TS Controllers create it and make it, we sell it. We also help them with some of the R&D and things like that. So it's one of the joint products. This will be available through ATS in the very near future. We are just at this time going through the software, bug fixing, everything like that. The prototype units that people have already got are already out. So at the moment it's just in its testing phase. There'll be more updates about this as we go. I will do a whole video on it when I've got the software completely and utterly set and ready. One of the things that you'll notice today is it works with the 170 fine, but there's other locos that still got to go through. If you've been keeping up with the streams over on Twitch, you'll have seen the capabilities of this already, but we'll just wait until I've got everything sorted before I do a proper showcase video on it, guys. You will see me use it in the next few videos. Again, it's me testing it. I want to make sure that I break it before we release it. So, Cambridge to Peterborough. Cambridge to Peterborough with the first phase in the routes that the new network of routes that we are ultimately aiming for throughout East Anglia, really. So phase one, the first release, will be Cambridge to Peterborough. So that includes like Ely, Papworth Sidings, Ely Station, Cambridge North, that sort of section line, March, Mainey, that bit. The route is about 90% done. We're just waiting on final assets to go in. So Ely Station, the one we have in at the moment, is a placeholder. This is not the final model. This was literally just in place to show off on, so I could use it on a couple of the streams. So it's not correct and it's not complete. The next station we will see, and we'll get set up and driving, is Cambridge North. Now the main bulk of the models there, it still needs tweaks textures wise and the clutter adding, but it's done. Cambridge is near enough there. So Cambridge is the real bit I'm really looking forward to showing you. There are still some bits that need sorting. I need to get some models changed and things, but apart from that, it's looking good. Right, so let's get this set up first. Let's get some headlights on. Let's get some tail lights off. Let's get our DRA off. Into forward, and we can get going. I didn't pick rain, by the way. This was just Matt's test scenario. So we're not really worried about. You've seen this bit of the route anyway. It has been completely re-overhead lined with the ATS pack now, and that is beautiful. Matt has done a sterling job on getting the overhead line stuff in, which I'm really pleased to see. Even down to bits that we couldn't replicate with the stuff he's done by hand, like literally got new bits created and all sorts. So it's really nice to see those go in. It sets the feel of the route for me, and with these routes, that's the main thing I'm going for. I'm not building a model railway. I'm building a simulated route, and for these, that's what I want. I want the feel to be right. I want it to feel like you're driving. It's the same thing I say in all my reviews. I want it to feel like you're driving on the line that it's set, and that's been our aim. At the moment there's still some track clutter to be added in these sections, so don't worry too much about it looking a little bit sparse in places, but most of the scenery's done. I'd say we're about 90% there with the route. We're hoping to go into a beta phase in the next couple of weeks, and then that'll be test. Make sure we've got all the speed limits right, all the signalling right. There's a couple of signals that need changing around, and there's some speed limits that need sorting. But apart from that, we're pretty good. Fingers crossed. The phases to come after this phase will be probably in no actual order, because it depends on how they're done. The main bit will be to Ipswich, so that'll be from Ely up to Ipswich. One of the other phases we want to do is Chippenham Junction, Newmarket, that sort of section. So you can do the line that actually goes past my old house, which is something I've wanted to see in Train Sim for a long time. So that means you can do Cambridge, Newmarket, Bury St Edmunds, Stowmarket to Ipswich, that line. The next, or one of the other bits that will be done is Kings Lynn to King's Cross, which is another big section. So it'll probably be that bit will probably be done in 2 sections. So you'll probably get Cambridge to Kings Lynn, and then Cambridge down to the Hitchin flyover to join onto the south end of the East Coast Main Line South. Part of why we're doing this is an upgrade of the overhead line on the East Coast Main Line merge, and also some modernisation of Peterborough. So Peterborough itself, the new model is in. It's bare bones at the minute, but we've got the new platforms, the new bridges, the new everything. So we have the whole new layout for Peterborough already, and if you've watched the streams, you've seen that. What I will say with that is that will be added to the merge, and it'll also update the East Coast Main Line South for these parts of the routes. This will be a merged together bit, so you can do the diverts, and especially with the Hertford Loop as well, it means we've got the diverging bits for the south end of the East Coast Main Line, which is, for me, super exciting. This stretch of line has tons of traffic, whether it be 170s, 755s, 66s, 70s, rail tours galore down this section of line. There's ballast trains from Whitemoor Yard. There are sand trains stone into Cambridge North, like aggregates. So there's a fair whack. A lot of infrastructure stuff. If you think a lot of the ballast workers that do anything down south tend to come from Whitemoor, so it's got a virtual quarry, they call it, isn't it? So if you're down here on a weekend, standing at Warbeach Station, waiting for a train or doing a bit of spotting, you will see ungodly amounts of infrastructure trains bombing their way down to the south end of the East Coast Main Line to be distributed around the London area and south east. So there's a lot of scope. There's a lot of scope with this. And then when we've got the extra lines in, I mean, a dream for me would be to run from Kings Lynn to King's Cross. It's just always been something I've wanted to do, and that's going to be doable. The Kings Lynn section is, again, about, I think that's probably 80% complete. That again is just waiting on a couple of new station models, 2 new station models, I think. So there is a lot going on. We also in this pack have a lot of these new beasties. Again, these aren't 100% finished, Jake's still tinkering with them, bits and pieces, and the sounds are different. So you've got a whole new level crossing pack, which has been really nicely done by Jake Fuller. So we've got a ATS level crossing pack that's made by him, so really looking forward to seeing that out as well, and that being available for you guys to use in routes and that sort of thing. The user work crossings, there are farm crossings, there are automatic half barriers, there's CCTV, where there are millions and millions and millions. I'll do an actual video showing most of them off, but they're exciting to see. He's also done a clutter pack for us, so when the route's finished, you'll notice a lot of the things that we take for granted in Train Sim that we see quite regularly, things like skips and bins and that sort of thing on the line side stuff, or in little farmyards next to the track. We've got new sets of those, so it just gives a little bit of a new dimension to the routes as well. It doesn't repeat itself with other routes in Train Sim, which I think is quite nice. I'm sure they will eventually repeat themselves within ATS routes, but it should hopefully give our routes a different feel, a slightly different feel, which again is something I'm really looking forward to seeing. I don't know why I was sitting in notch 4 there. So we've got the solar fields next to us, which is now a very common thing in these flatlands of Cambridge. It's Cambridgeshire. Funnily enough, I did this route last week to get a little bit of source for Ely. I say a little bit, it was like 400 and something photos. And Callum, who's done a lot of the route building on this, we were concerned about the fields. We were trying to get a bit of variety in them, and I was trying to explain that realistically there isn't masses of variety. But again, it's got to feel right in Train Sim. So I was saying, look, we need to get some sort of representation of onions and that sort of thing for the fields, because these fields literally are onions, potatoes, carrots, onions, potatoes, carrots, onions, potatoes, carrots, onions, potatoes, carrots. Well, that was the case until quite recently. Quite a lot of these fields now, especially on our left-hand side as we're going into Cambridge, have been turned into turf fields. So, like turf farms. So they literally are just like great big giant lawns. So that brings us on to what era we're putting this in. So to start with, we are aiming for about a 2018-2019 era. So you have Cambridge North, you have the new platforms at Cambridge, you'll have new platforms at Peterborough, but you might not necessarily at this time, and I say this now, have the extras that are there already. So Cambridge North is the new hotel. Peterborough, there's a few little tweaks and changes again that have happened at Peterborough relatively recently as well. Ely, not much has changed at Ely, which is nice. But one of the reasons behind that is stock. At the moment, we don't have a 755. We have access to 387s, 170s, and that sort of thing. And we've also got GU Studios, so Guterbahnhof's amazingly good-looking 317 coming as well. So that will just fit into this route like a glove, which I'm really, really excited about. Other bits that I can point out while we are here. Sidings at Cambridge. So there's now the whole new sidings at Cambridge next to the platforms that have got the controlled emissions toilets, empty and stuff. It's all the service area for the 700s, the Thameslink runs and things like that. The reason that's not in is that is literally just been finished. Just been finalised and finished. I have managed to be able to secure access to get some source for that area, so that will come in one of the future updates. One of the next phases should, hopefully what I want to be able to do is give you an option of eras for that sort of thing. So do you want to run it with the new bits, or do you want to run it a little bit backdated? And also with the 700s not been around as well, it's about waiting to see what comes with the freeware models for 700s that have been done. So there's a lot to think about. This is us at Waterbeach. It's actually one of my favourite done stations on this line. Callum's managed to capture it really nicely, and Jake's done a great job with the level crossing and the level crossing poles and all of that jazz. He's even got the light. I mean, I haven't got the latest pack in, but with the latest pack he's got, like, the lights flash before the noise and the barriers come down. It's in the right pattern and everything. It's real attention to detail, which I'm really, really pleased to see. Ooh, what's that? This section of track actually I think is 90 as well at the minute, so this is one of the speed limits that needs updating. Very lucky to have very decent source for this route. So with Cambridge North is in. It's a very first step of the model, really. At the moment, the old one, the placeholder one's out. The new model is in. Some of the textures need a bit of a tweak. Even today, there are new ground textures and everything for the outside. There is new solar panels and bike rack assets to be made. At the moment, they're just a mock-up to work out what we needed for the stream and stuff. But the main building itself is just about there. There's a couple of the concrete texture panels that we've spoken about might need a bit of a tweak and stuff. This is us coming under the A14 now. And us heading in to Cambridge North. So you see you've got the aggregate sidings here as well. These are still used pretty regularly, actually. Do you notice some of the light in being emitted isn't quite right? Again, like I said, it's being changed. But Klaus has done the vectors for the quite complex panelling on Cambridge North. So you can see these textures, and even when you're sort of like in the bridge, which is an odd experience at the best of times, is in. These are the bike racks. They're being changed, so we're going to get proper ones. There's actual assets of those being made. Ben's already redone all of out here, so this all looks different. It's got all the benches in and everything. That's not in yet. The only thing I can tell you at the minute that is wrong here is that these panels here are upside down, so they're being changed, so don't worry about that, those that spot it. But yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there, definitely. Right. Considering the guy did this in, I daren't say, not very long, because I desperately needed it, I'm very pleased with where that's got so far. Right, onwards and upwards and into Cambridge. So that's coming up to Fen Road level crossing, and then we are crossing the River Cam. This little bit of track here, this would go off to the old Barmall Junction, which served a small fuel terminal up until probably the mid-90s, I think. So it's coming out of Coldham's Lane. Cambridge Depot. So at the moment, what's serviced at Cambridge Depot is 170s, I think. They're sort of looked after there. In the carriage sidings, it's all of the GA and Great Northern stock. So you can see it's the old layout for Cambridge. Not the old layout, like the interim layout. And we have the red and blue bridge. This very kindly is a little bit of sharing within the community really with this. James Class 37, who's part of the West Anglia Great Northern build team, he's done the bridge and the Cambridge Leisure Park car park for his West Anglian route. So we've said they can use our Cambridge if we could use their assets for that. So I was more than happy with that. So don't worry about these bits. These are all on the bug fix list. I've only had the model in 2 weeks and the clutter in about 13 hours. Now what I'm going to do while we're here is not make the mistake I made last night. And that is to pause it, not stop the train. So, welcome to Cambridge. So again, it's not a model railway, it is what it is, and I'm very, very pleased with it so far. It's got the look, it's got the feel, it just does it right for me. The way that this was modernised, for me, was never the best in the world. I always thought Cambridge could look a little bit better and do things a little bit differently, but it's been done pretty well. So things like, remember talking about station, the signals that need changes, that needs to be hanging, that sort of thing. There's just those. Signals are one of the last things that everybody goes through with this. Not placing or anything like that, but just the actual model and that. So even down at the 2 and 3, so this is sort of, used to be like 317 hotspot. You come down now, Cambridge PSB, that needs changing, so our modeller needs to put some windows in the front of this. But again, I'm just very pleased to have a representation of it in at this precise moment before release. Cambridge Leisure Park, car park. James has done a really good job with that. I'm very, very impressed. This was my worst thing, was this weird grating they used, because of course I park here quite often, and it's quite nice to look at the trains, but it literally isn't much better than that in real life. I'll be completely honest with you. So yeah, Cambridge Town. Or with the new station coming in, is it still just going to be called Cambridge, or is it going to be Cambridge Central, or what? Because we've got Cambridge North and soon to have Cambridge South coming in, haven't we? So yeah, we'll make a nice screenshot. Not that. We'll have a look around for a nice screenshot. Right. Okay, exteriors. There's still some bits that need polishing off out here. The windows up there, and this just needs leveling out. The old post office pub, that needs doing. But the basics are there, and that's what I'm happy with on exteriors, really, from the fronts. Anything else? Benches, everything. Signs are all in. CCTV screens, the display screens, they're all in. So yeah, all in all, it's looking very, very nice. Well, I think it is anyway. I'd love to hear your feedback and see what you guys think. Because ultimately, it's you guys who are going to be the judges of it. Oh, I'm really annoyed there's not going to be a decent screenshot out of this. That'll do for now. Alright, and guys, your feedback's more than welcome. Please do remember what I've said, though. It's still heavily work in progress. Any little pointers you have, by all means, send them in the comments. I will catch us all probably tomorrow and the next day with some more videos showing off some of the latest products and projects, including a quick update to the Azuma 800 sound pack. I've also got Martin Masterson's new Southwestern Express lines Southwestern Express electrified to show off as well. So that'll be good. It won't be my first look at it because I've had a drive of it on Twitch, but it'll be a little bit of a review and a nice little jolly that on that. All right, and guys, thank you very much for joining. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Heading over to AlanThompsonSim.com for all your latest train sim needs. Heading over to Twitch on at the moment, Sunday and Wednesday for train sim. and maybe some other days because I've got a little bit more time at the minute. And also Tuesday is Euro Truck, so it's Trucking Tuesdays usually. But they can change, so keep an eye on the Facebook group as well, guys. All right, and guys, once again, thanks ever so much for joining me. Catch you next time.